Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I talk about the NWSL, women's soccer, just soccer, only soccer. We have another US women's national team roster drop today, guys, this time for the 2025 SheBelieves Cup. Before I go any further, you can listen to this roster review on my Spotify podcast, link in the description below. Likewise, if you are listening to this on Spotify, you can also watch this roster review on YouTube, link will be in the description. The US will be meeting Colombia, Australia, and Japan for the 2025 SheBelieves Cup. As it stands, the US's first match will be against Colombia on Thursday, February 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also want to note, all the times listed are going to be Eastern Standard Time. The US's next match against Australia will be Sunday, February 23rd at 5 o'clock p.m. And their last match will be against Japan on February 26th at 10:30 p.m. Yeah, that's going to be an after dark match, so that's going to be something. It's going to be fun and probably extra. This will be the first time we see the U.S. women's national team in action for 2025. There was some confusion back in January where there was a U.S. women's national team camp and the January camp roster, but no games. There would usually be friendlies for the January camp, but Emma Hayes or U.S. Soccer decided against it. Instead, Hayes used the January camp to call up newer players to the national team and see what they can do and what they're capable of. In interviews, Hayes had pointed out that the team in U.S. Soccer in the past years may have missed out on a handful of youth potential and talent. The January camp was meant to give new players in youth a chance. At the same time, there were also some veteran players there as well. When it comes to the SheBelieves Cup, though, we could see some players from the January camp, but we are also likely going to see more veteran players like Lindsey Horan, Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman, Mal Swanson, and so on. Those four weren't called up to the January camp, but we could see them in the SheBelieves Cup. That all being said, let's get into the roster, starting with the goalkeepers. Alright, so if you're watching this on YouTube, yes, I made the theme for the roster myself. For goalkeepers, Jane Campbell and Mandy McGlynn. I was expecting to see Casey Murphy, and others were hoping to see Fallon Joyce, since she has been doing well with Man United since the WSL season kicked off again. But Campbell and McGlynn are perfectly fine. Since the SheBelieves Cup is fairly short, it's likely Campbell and McGlynn will both get playtime. Yeah, not really much to say about the goalkeepers, so on to the defenders. So for defenders, Tierna Davidson, Crystal Dunn, Emily Fox, Tara McKeown, Jenna Neiswanger, Emily Sams, Emily Sonnet, and Giselle Thompson. It's a good selection of defenders. Some experienced national team defenders, Davidson, Dunn, Fox, Sonnet, Neiswanger, and I guess you can throw in Sams too. She did get a gold medal in the Olympics last year, but she didn't exactly get playtime there. But we also have newer defenders like Tara McKeown and Giselle Thompson, the sister of Alyssa Thompson. Yeah, kind of making me think of the Cascarino sisters, if you're familiar with the French women's national team. Estelle would play in the back line, and Delphine, her sister, would play in the attack. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Giselle though. It's cool to see her getting called up along with her sister, which is kind of a spoiler because Alyssa Thompson did get called up to the SheBelieves Cup roster as well. Anyway, something I'm noticing right off the back is no Naomi Girma. Not a big deal because she was called up to the January camp and she also just moved to England to play for Chelsea. So maybe she needed rest or time to adjust to changes. But yeah, we'll likely see her again in the upcoming months. Maybe in the friendlies against Brazil. Yeah, overall, it's still a good selection of defenders. It will be interesting to see how they hold off Australia in Colombia's attack, especially Colombia. Colombia can be pretty scrappy in the midfield and attack, and they're very quick with their movement, transitions, and countering. I guess the question for the backline and defense is if they'll be able to keep up with Colombia, because when it came to Girma is able to go toe-to-toe with quick moving forwards and midfielders. Again, it's a good selection, but they're definitely going to face some challenges in these games. Now on to the midfielders. All right, so for midfielders, and I have a lot to say. Corbin Albert, Sam Coffey, Lindsay Heaps, formerly Haran, Claire Hutton, Jaden Shaw, and Lily Johannes. We really can't find anyone else besides Corbin Albert, not even Savannah DeMello. Here's the thing with Albert. In the US's final match last year against the Netherlands, she was barely noticeable in the midfield. And funny enough, in the Olympics last year, Japan had her surrounded in the midfield and for a majority of the match basically cut her off as a passing target for the US. Albert needs to be more active in the US midfield, and she honestly needs to do more. As for the other midfielders, Coffey is fine. You guys all know how I feel about Coffey. I would like to see how she does against Japan and Colombia. Like I said earlier, Colombia is a scrappy team in the midfield and attack. They're very, very aggressive and like applying pressure in the midfield. This is where I'm a bit worried about Albert's control in the midfield and less worried about Coffey's. As for the others, Heaps will do her thing. She's doing well at Lyon. I think she has taken a beating from Colombia in the past, but she should be okay as long as she has support. Oh, and another thing, when the US plays Japan, I hope she doesn't do that thing she did in the Olympic quarterfinal against Japan. If you know, you know. But she basically abandoned Albert in the midfield. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to my match review and my article of that game because you all need to understand how annoying that midfield was. But I am looking forward to Hutton, Shaw, and Johannes in the midfield. Especially Johannes. I would like to see her paired with Shaw. Like, just give me a midfield with Shaw, Johannes, and Coffey. I really want to see something there. I really want to see more of Johannes, and this is a good time to play her. Shaw dropping back to the midfield would likely provide good movement and transition in the midfield. She should be able to get the US out of dangerous situations while also providing good connection in the attack and will be able to break through the back lines of Colombia, Australia, and Japan. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. Now on to the forwards. For forwards, Lynn Biandulo, formerly Williams, Michelle Cooper, Katarina Macario, Yasmin Ryan, Emma Sears, Ali Sentnor, and Alyssa Thompson. So no triple espresso, no Trinity Rodman, Sophia Smith, or Mal Swanson yet. Again, no big deal. We'll likely see them in the upcoming months. Although I do think Rodman and Smith would have been great in these games, especially with their pace and connection. If 2 out of 3 triple espressos were here, I think the US attack would be able to outpace Australia and maybe Japan. Colombia's defense, again, they're a quick team, quick transitions. They may pose some problems for the attack. Overall, though, it's an interesting selection of forwards here. I do think pace is going to be essential in the attack for all 3 of these games. Of course, there needs to be good connection in the attacking third as well. Thompson has great pace. I would like to see that connection and build up between her and Shaw in the midfield and attack. I'm looking forward to Macario in the attack. She may need to find her rhythm and chemistry with the team, but she should be alright. If only her Chelsea teammate Mia Fishel was here, but I think she's still recovering from her ACL injury last year. Yasmin Ryan should do well in these games. I liked how she performed in the US's friendlies last year against England and the Netherlands. I would like to see more of Sears. She did get shut down against England, but I think she just needs more confidence. As for Sentnor, I would like to see her get more playtime as well. Maybe see her against Australia or Japan and see how she does in front of goal. Overall, the SheBelieves Cup roster looks alright. There are plenty of newer players, especially in the attack. I think these games against Colombia, Australia, and Japan are going to be good tests and challenges for the US team. Each team has their own strengths, and the US team and Hayes need to figure out how to approach each match. Colombia is going to be quick and aggressive, like I said many times before. They're going to be looking to control the midfield and transition quickly once they get possession. Japan is going to be more tactical and patient. They will likely try to cut off the US in the midfield and will be looking to transition as well. Australia may be more balanced, but I think the US will be okay when it comes to maintaining control. I think it will almost come down to how the US goes about breaking through these teams' defense. Yeah, I would say for all these teams, their defenses are pretty strong. But yeah, that will be interesting to see. That will be something to keep an eye on. Anyway, what do you think of this roster? Let me know in the comments section below. That is all I have for you guys today or tonight, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.